So, good morning. Because we start. Welcome to this ACER webinar on the amendment to the price coupling algorithm methodology to include co-optimisation. My name is Mathieu Frans. I'm leading the team on market codes within the ACER electricity department. With me is Marco Pavesi, who will do the main content of this webinar today. If you can go to the next slide. On the agenda today, we will follow the main parts of the public consultation, which we've started, indeed with some introductory remarks, the background and process leading to this decision, and indeed then subsequently look into the parts on the benefits of co-optimization, the bid design, the market products, and the R&D activities currently ongoing to enable the implementation. And we'll close off with some closing remarks. In the next slide, I will go through the housekeeping rules. So for questions, please pose your questions in the Slido tool. In the chat, there will be a link as well, as shown here. And there you will be able to submit your questions, which we'll address in the Q&A sessions as shown in the agenda. The meeting will be recorded. Please keep your microphone muted until the chair, unless the chair gives you the floor. The request is, if you have the questions on Slido, they will be shown to everyone, and please put your likes to it if you think it's an interesting question we should address first. Slides and recordings of the webinar will be uploaded to the ACER website after, yeah, we will try to put indeed the questions in the Q&A session, but they can indeed also be raised at any point during the webinar. In the next slide, I will go through a few of introductory remarks on this topic. Markets are organized in sequence from long term to short term. So indeed, forward markets, sort of is for the longer term. And then indeed, day ahead and intraday markets up to balancing markets. They basically drive the European electricity system, and indeed lead to, in the end, to delivery of electricity. A separate part of these markets are the so-called balancing capacity markets, where TSOs procure or reserve capacity for provision of balancing energy in real time. And this is because those reserves need to come from units that need to be put on standby for delivering this. Those markets of balancing capacity usually precede the day-ahead market. In the past, this used to be really long time, years ahead. But the legislation has mandated that also these balancing capacity markets, they go shorter and shorter to real time, and are actually now largely, and we'll show that in the next slides, also being run at a day-ahead level. Maybe you can go back, Marco, just one remark. So indeed, in the day-ahead market and all the other electricity markets, horizontal capacity and its allocation to exchange electricity between zones is indeed of high importance to have the most consumer. And as those balancing capacity markets are also in the same time frame, and there's also benefits for them to be organized cross-border, the allocation of horizontal capacity between the two, so between the day-ahead market and the balancing capacity market, is indeed of importance. And this is what the topic of today is about: is how does this work? What's the content behind this? And how do we optimize day-ahead and balancing capacity markets acting indeed in the same time frame? If we go to the next slide, so indeed currently the whole European day-ahead market is coupled on a daily basis for the 24 hours of the next day. But we at the same time see that balancing capacity markets are mainly organized nationally. There's some corporations, and indeed that there is still a difference between the lead time across Europe. Although in recent years, as said, the movement towards more day-ahead markets has indeed been quite significant. So what's the purpose of co-optimization? The purpose of co-optimization is basically to organize those two markets together, organize them roughly at the same time in order to make the choice to allocate the cross-owned capacity for the benefit of both markets, and to assess whether it's better to use the cross-owned capacity for day ahead or to use it for balancing capacity markets. And in the next slide, a bit of a graphical view of this. So what we generally see is that the bidding in both markets is related. If as a market participant you bid for balancing capacity, you basically foregone the revenue you would have had if you would have bid in the day ahead market. These so-called opportunity costs, as economics call them, they are a measure to say, okay, would I have lost anything if I can't participate in the day ahead market, or am I already out of merit and wouldn't I have made any money? So this balance, this assessment of where is the most benefit of using cross-owned capacity, that's the purpose of co-optimization. So maximizing indeed the use of the cross-owned capacity to the market where the value is the highest. So we'll go into this today a bit more detail, indeed also helping you to understand the topic and well, making it able for you to provide your input into our consultation. And then I give the floor to Marco, who will go into a bit more detail and explain you a bit more about the background to this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, and good morning, everyone. Also from my side, I'm Marco Pavesi. I'm also in the electricity department ACER. I work in the market codes team as a policy officer. So I will start with giving you some background and context into the process that is leading to the ACER decision on this topic. So first of all, where does this co-optimization come from? So it is first set out in Article 40.1 of the balancing regulation, which contains the requirement for all TSOs to develop and implement this methodology for a co-optimized allocation process, which can be used for exchanging balancing capacity or to share reserves. And as Matthew said, this co-optimization needs to be based on the actual bids for both markets, so for the day-ahead market and for the balancing capacity markets. And this means that this process can only be implemented into the single day-ahead coupling algorithm. And this algorithm is actually subject to the algorithm methodology, which is the scope of this webinar today. And this is drafted by the NIMOS pursuant to Article 37 of the CACM regulation. So how do we get the implementation of co-optimization in SDAC? So we have two main steps in this workflow. First of all, TSOs need to submit the set of requirements for co-optimization to the NIMOS, and then NIMOS accordingly we need to consider these new requirements and amend the algorithm and methodology accordingly. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about today. So this is the process that has started and that will lead to the ACER decision on this topic. Maybe before the NIMOS submitted this methodology to us, there have been conducted two main preparatory studies to the co-optimization. The first one was the so-called implementation impact assessment. This was carried out in the course of 2021 by TSOs, and this was mostly a qualitative study to assess the impact of co-optimization. As a follow-up to this study, later on in the course of 2022, the NIMOS and TSOs, with the support of the SDAC service provider, also continue to further investigate the implementation of co-optimization in SDAC, and this led to a so-called roadmap study, which culminated with a prototype implementation of co-optimization into the market clearing algorithm. And here we are now. So we got the NIMOS proposals at the end of November last year. This proposal is made up of 5 main documents. First of all, it starts off with an explanatory note, which sets the grounds and the arguments for the changes that have been introduced by the NIMOS in this proposal. And the actual proposal then is made up of 4 parts. We have the algorithm methodology, which is the core of this proposal. And on which most of the public consultation talks about. And then we have 3 annexes to the algorithm methodology. First one is the annex on the common set of requirements for the head. And then we have Annex 2, which is the same, but for intraday. And then Annex 3 talks about the algorithm monitoring methodology for the head. And as I said before, most of the questions are about the first deliverable, which is the algorithm methodology. Complementary to this one, there is also one additional document, which is not part of the slide, which contains the list of NEMOs and TSOs to which this proposal is applicable. And now we are here. So what we are consulting in this public consultation. If I've opened it already in the last couple of weeks, you may have seen that this consists of 4 topics. First one is the R&D activities, so how to link the next steps of the roadmap study with the current proposal from the NEMOs. The second topic is about the bid design and products, so whether to go for separate bids for the head and balancing capacity or having only one single bid, and what is the expected input from market participants on this topic, how this shall be provided, and under which timeline. And finally, under this topic 2, we also have a last question about the additional products that could be needed to introduce co-optimization in the single head coupling. The third topic is about the benefits of co-optimization. So it's an open question about what can be expected from the introduction of co-optimization in SDAC. And finally, we have one last topic, which is about any other comments that any stakeholders might have on this proposal. In the coming parts of this webinar, I'm going to deep dive a bit more deeper into the first 3 topics, starting with the last one, which is on the benefits of co-optimization compared to the status quo. So here we are assessing a comparison between these 2 market design. So as Mathieu mentioned in the first part, balancing capacity is mostly a market of opportunity cost because balancing capacity prices are mainly defined by the foregone day-ahead market profits when market participants bid into the balancing capacity market. So in this example, we have the status quo, basically with 2 separate markets. First one on the left-hand side is the balancing capacity auction, and on the right-hand side, we have the head energy auction. So currently, these 2 markets are clearly in the following chronological order. So from left to right, first the balancing capacity market clears, and then this input is used for the energy auction. However, market participants, when bidding in the balancing capacity auction, they need to forecast what is coming next, so the day-ahead price in the day-ahead energy auction. And this causes inefficiency because forecast errors made by market participants may alter the marital order curve of the balancing capacity auction. And this could lead to suboptimal results. And even in the case where all market participants are subject to the same forecast, so this could be the case, for instance, in the so-called market-based allocation, still there are coordination inefficiencies, for instance, due to a fixed cost of the assets that still remain. And those inefficiencies would still lead to suboptimal outcomes compared to any design with a sequential clearing between these 2 markets. So this is what is the drawbacks of the status quo and or market-based, but then what are the benefits of co-optimization? So in our view, the main benefits of co-optimization are the following. So the one that you see here on the slide. First of all, it allows to integrate balancing capacity markets into the SDAC clearing. And this also allows that to not having any price forecast either by market participants or by TSOs. And on top of that, this also leads to a lower cost for the procurement of balancing capacity meaning cheaper bits that can become available from other load frequency control areas. This could also allow to share balancing reserves between TSOs and to have an accurate assessment of opportunity cost in the two markets. So this is what we have identified as the most significant benefits of co-optimization, and the open question in the public consultations about what do you think about these benefits? Is there any other benefit that is not captured here? And in general, your perspective on the expected inputs given by co-optimization in a single ahead clearing. So with that, I stop for the first Q&A session. So we'll have one Q&A session after each part of the public consultation topics. So Matteo, I'll give back the floor to you for the first questions that have come, maybe through a slide.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So indeed, well, first thank you, Marco, for this introduction, and indeed call upon the audience to indeed put in their questions. Luckily, we have one at least, but indeed calling for more if you have them. So first question from Rodrigo Escobar, asking, as shown in the slide, the procurement lead time for balancing capacity is not harmonized across the EU, and normally it's procured before the day-ahead time frame. Therefore, why to implement co-optimizations if TSOs do not plan to harmonize this lead time? I don't know if you can answer it. I have an idea, but go ahead, Marco.
Yes, but maybe it's important to mention that in the context of the clean energy package, actually the balancing lead time should be as close as possible to the ahead time frame. So we expect that more and more TSOs will move with this procurement of balancing capacity from days ahead or even weeks ahead towards a day -1. So in this framework, we will still see that implementing co-optimization will allow this day-ahead procurement of balancing capacity to be integrated between all TSOs, and hence lead to the benefits that we were mentioning in the previous slides. I don't know, Matteo, if you want to comment on this.
Yeah, I think it's indeed well put. The legislation indeed requires a short, well, indeed closer to real time, and indeed mainly day-ahead procurement of balancing capacity. There are some exceptions, but every TSO at least needs to be able to, or procure a part of their reserves in the day-ahead time frame. And I think this is also why, indeed, in the recent years, in the market monitoring report, we've shown TSOs moving more and more closer to real time, closer to day-ahead procurement, and they're sometimes even shorter. But at the same time, indeed, not much cooperations in that sense, where co-zonal capacity is needed, have been developed. Then I have a second question from Cosio Campidoglio. So the question is, may you provide any assessment of the cost of drawbacks of co-optimization beyond the benefits? I think it's a bit the cost of implementing it, and what would be the drawbacks of it. Yeah.
Right. So we would expect that if you have any significant drawbacks that you see in this implementation, please, of course, mention them in the public consultation. We focus mostly on the benefits, but as I will mention in the coming slides, we see that there is indeed a need for further R&D, which of course costs some money, and this cost should not be forgotten when assessing the overall benefits of co-optimization. So the main part of this question specifically is about benefits, but please feel free to mention any other drawbacks that you see in this implementation. But I will touch upon some of them very soon in the next slides.
Okay, good. For the moment, I don't have any other questions, but if there are also on this part, Now they're coming, Marco. So I will take. I see two coming. Let me maybe first the first two anonymous questions, but the first one: do you see any risk on lesser grid scale battery build out as a result of lower balancing market capacity prices?
Well, I don't see any direct link between these two elements, but it's important maybe to mention that batteries and in general or other assets that are in the balancing capacity markets, but also in the other markets, can arbitrage still their optimal use of the assets over different time frames. So it's not necessarily a given that if this co-optimization will lead to lower balancing prices, this cannot be turned into higher balancing energy prices, for instance. And by optimizing and leveraging the use of their assets over these different markets and over these different time frames, still the profit expectancies from battery owners would still not be necessarily getting lower.
And then I have a fourth question, which I think is indeed also very relevant. Is how would platforms such as Picasso and Mari be linked with this co-optimization methodology?
Yeah, that's indeed a very important question. So here we're talking about balancing capacity markets, whereas Mari and Picasso are balancing energy platforms. So they will not be part of the same optimization algorithm. What is happening is that by having a better calculation of the zonal capacity via optimization, then we expect that more balancing capacity should be made available for the exchange of balancing energy in those platforms. So this will in turn lead to more optimal use of balancing energy in this balancing platforms such as Mari and Picasso. So this is how these two elements are connected.
Yeah, maybe I can add indeed the requirement of the regulation indeed mentions that any cross-zonal capacity being allocated to the exchange of balancing capacity is always subsequently offered to these platforms for the respective exchange. So if there's an AFR balancing capacity exchange between countries, this cross-zonal capacity is allocated to the platforms and indeed used for balancing energy exchange in real time. So those two are linked via the making available of electricity of the cross-zonal capacity between the two. I'm looking at time because slowly people starting to get loose with their questions. Maybe one here is, are we speaking of balancing capacity markets? What about emerging DSO congestion markets? And that will be the last one. And then the next one will tick in the next round.
I think I'd be very quick to this question. So other congestion markets are not yet harmonized at that level. So it's not possible, at least at this point in time, to integrate any such market in this co-optimization framework. If in the future we're going towards a more harmonized procurement of services for those markets closer to real time, then we could, let's say, at least conceptually think about integrating even more market in this framework. But at this point in time, we're not there yet. And the first step that we see is to integrate first balancing capacity markets into the single coupling algorithm.
Thank you, Marco. I propose we go to the next topic on the agenda. I do call on everyone to keep sending their questions, and we'll be able to take some more in the next Q&A.
Okay, then thanks, Mathieu. So we'll move to the second topic on the public consultation, which is about bid designs and market products. So, as was mentioned already in the first two parts of this webinar, co-optimization means that balancing capacity bids and the energy bids will need to be submitted at the same time, and this means that the air market and balancing capacity markets will have the same gate closure time, which is currently at 12 o'clock in the Central European time zone. Then, in turn, this means that market participants cannot consider the outcome of one market when offering their asset to the other one. So this is actually what is happening with a sequential setup for the markets. So how can we overcome the issue? This issue can be addressed by allowing market participants to link their bids for these two different markets. And if this is not made possible, then we will have inefficient markets. So the risk and uncertainty linked to the markups of the bids can be expected. This is due, for instance, to the wrong forecast of the balancing capacity prices. And on top of that, market bidding algorithms will be useful, but not available to market participants with more assets. So this can be seen as an entry barrier for small sources. And finally, as was mentioned in one of the question before, so we should not forget that this introduction of co-optimization has an impact on the algorithm performance, and this could be seen as a implementation cost of this co-optimization framework. So now we are here. NEMOs have submitted this proposal, but what is missing to finalize the implementation of co-optimization, and how market participants should help to provide this missing input. So market participants were asked by TSOs to develop a so-called bidding guide, which is one term that is frequently used in the algorithm proposal by the NEMOs. And in the TSO's view, this bidding guide should be developed by market participants over a full year, 2024. So from January up to the end of the year. So what we're asking in this public consultation is whether stakeholders consider this timeline to be, let's say, appropriate, and more importantly, which kind of inputs is still needed for NEMOs and TSOs to further continue with this bidding guide concept. And finally, still in this section about bid linking and market design products, we also need to foresee an update on the single direct coupling product methodology. So basically, this is the underlying methodology which sets out which products are essential or optional to be provided by the NEMOs in the single direct coupling. And if we are extending single direct coupling not only to the head but also to the balancing capacity markets, this will mean that new products either for the balancing capacity market only or linking the head market and balancing capacity markets will need to be included in this list. So this is also a forward-looking question, and we are looking forward to hearing some views from any interested stakeholders on what is missing to complement this journey. And with that, we've come to the second Q&A session. This is about the bid design and products. So, Matteo, I give back the floor to you.
Yes, thank you, Marco. Well, we have a number of questions in coming, and I think they're also linked to this question. So I think they are very well put. I will start with the second one on the list currently, although it's, I think, ex aequo first question. And the question is will co-optimization require a change from portfolio bidding as used in day-ahead markets in most of Europe today to unit bidding in day-ahead in order to be able to link the volume?
So the short answer will be, in my view, not necessarily. So we're still, so actually that's one of the topics that will need to be further studied. So whether we portfolio bidding or unit bidding or unit bidding will be more suitable for the algorithm to run and to give its output in the allowed time frame. So I would not say that co-optimization will set clearly whether a portfolio bidding should be abandoned towards unit bidding, but it will at least help to understand whether a move from one to the other could help to solve the algorithm problem in a shorter amount of time.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm looking a bit at the questions because some are more linked to this and some are a bit semi-linked to the previous. But I will take them from the top to well, just answer the most popular question. So the first is beyond of any study or work performed by NEMOs and TSOs, is there any current study available by ACER providing a welfare analysis for the possible application of co-optimization in SDAC? I think we can say something on this, Mark.
Yes. Yeah. So the study is being conducted as we speak. So we are indeed assessing any welfare gains from the application of co-optimization into the single direct coupling algorithm, not only with regards to the status quo, but also with regards to market-based allocation. We expect to finalize this study in the coming months and then publish the outcome of it in the course of May or June this year. So more or less at the same time and as this ACER decision on the co-optimization topic.
Thanks. Then indeed the next question is the current Nordic AFR balancing capacity market does not consider a co-optimization. If co-optimization is used for SDAC, how would these other methodologies such as market-based allocation be integrated as well?
Yeah, that's indeed a very good question. So I mentioned the Nordics as one of the example, actually the only example as at this stage of market-based allocation of constitutional capacity. So the idea behind the balancing regulation is that market-based was seen as an intermediary step towards the application of co-optimization. So if co-optimization will finally be applied in the single direct coupling, then the market base will become superfluous and will not be used anymore in the Nordics. So this is how we see the phase out of market base towards the introduction of co-optimization in SDAC.
Thank you, Marco. Yeah, so the next question is having more linked on the linking topic as before. So the question is, how can market participants contribute to bid design and products without knowing that they had balancing capacity linking specifics?
So what we're interested in here is actually to get as much input as possible on what do you think that is really missing from NEMOs and TSOs to implement any kind of big linking. So if you have any, so if you see your bidding behavior and your assets and you need to implement any linking for your portfolio bidding, then it is exactly what we are looking for. So to see the bidding possibilities that are needed for market participants, such that NEMOs and TSOs can then further assess how to convert and if these bidding possibilities into a product that can be taken into the SDAC market coupling algorithm. So it's if you have any specific examples, please provide any contribution in the public consultation.
Thank you, Marco. Yeah, then the next one. Optimization of markets in general, and in particularly with the possibility of linking bids, implies that the resulting price is no more representing simply the energy value, neither the imbalanced cost. How do you think to deal with this? I need to think about this. I hope you have an idea to answer, but I need to think about this question a bit.
Not immediately, actually.
No. Let's go to the next. Maybe ask the.
Yeah, we can come back to this later.
To maybe add a bit because it's a bit hard for us to understand what you mean. So the next one is, do you consider topic 2 of the public consultation as a replacement of the bidding guide process as formulated in the NEMO proposal? It's an easier one.
I will not use the word replacement, but I will say that it will help us to better understand what is still needed, so that we can take this feedback into account and potentially amend this aspect of Article 416 towards better fit needs for market participants. So yes, for sure it plays a role in that part of the algorithm methodology.
Thank you. Maybe a question which I think seems to pop up or rise on the list. It's about the Nordic experience, so maybe linked to the previous question. So Nordic experience so far seems to suggest that the result is not far from the theoretical optimum. If that conclusion can be generalized, wouldn't it be unnecessary and too expensive to implement a much more complicated and expensive algorithm?
Well, what I will answer is that the Nordics can perhaps not be used as a benchmark for all bigger regions in Europe. So the Nordic power system cannot be compared, for instance, with the core market system, where we have many more countries and bidding zones that are interconnected to each other, and they have a different generation mix in those countries. So if the Nordic experience shows that maybe we're not that far from the optimum, then I will be quite careful in making a generalization by saying that this will probably be the case in other parts of the EU. And until we don't have this implemented, actually, so it's not really possible to make this conclusion in any way.
Yeah. Maybe, Marco, I think I would add that the flow-based aspect in this is also not unimportant to neglect. So currently, Nordic markets is ATC market coupling. The Central Europe is flow-based market coupling, and we do see that aspect also has some. Well, it has some implications on the actual allocation, but also on more difficulty to coordinate sequential markets rather than doing it in one go. I'm looking at time. I think we have time for one more, although it's a bit of a, let me close some questions. It's a bit a long one, and I think you need to open it, Marco, to see all the questions, because I think the reply had further questions indeed. So the question is, it would like to emphasize the need for more advanced products, especially in the day-ahead market. It would be nice if it would be possible to use linked flexibility bids on, for example, the day-ahead market. Currently, only block bids and non-linked flexibility bids are allowed. Allowing linked flexibility bids would unlock more flexibility and reduce the need for precise spot forecasts when participating with flexibility. For example, from a generator that can only produce a certain volume of energy over 24 hours, but has significant flexibility to vary its production throughout this 24 period. I think it's almost an input to the consultation, but maybe we.
I was about to say this. Yeah, indeed. I mean, Marley, in my comments, we see that this is exactly what we are looking forward to. So if you have any more inputs like that, please submit them in the questions in this public consultation.
Good. I would propose to continue.
Yes.
We have a number of questions, but let's keep them for the final slot.
Indeed. So this is the last part of the public consultation. So here we are now going to focus on the R&D activities that will be necessary to enable the implementation of co-optimisation. So as I mentioned before, in the course of 2022, NEMO's NPSOs, with the help of the SDAC service provider, conducted a so-called roadmap study, which here in this picture shows the view of the service provider on what is needed to fully implement co-optimization into the a single direct coupling algorithm. So there are some high-level design steps, some other detailed design steps, and also a final industrialization of this concept. Now, what we see is that Article 416 of the NEMO proposal doesn't fully take into account what has been suggested by the service provider 2 years ago. More importantly, there are some elements that are listed in the roadmap study, but not in the NEMO's proposal, and vice versa. So here I've highlighted a sentence where we see what NEMO's, in their view, should be further pursued in the implementation for the R&D steps towards co-optimization. So what we are looking for here is your inputs on whether these two conclusions, so the ones from the roadmap study and what is put forward here by NEMO, should be aligned, to which extent, and if there's any other elements which is neither present in the roadmap study nor in the NEMO's proposal, which should be further investigated by NEMO's NTSOs towards the implementation of optimization. So this is, in short, the question that we have on this R&D part, and we are a few minutes ahead of schedule, and maybe we can take a bit more questions now in the final Q&A panel.
Very good. Thank you, Marco. I think first go back to the question we skipped before. We asked some additions, which I think now have been given in the replies. I hope you can see them, Marco. So indeed, the addition is indeed the current balancing prices are not only the value of balancing capacities, they are polluted by the forecasted energy price too, and vice versa in the co-optimization framework. Maybe is there something we can respond to, or at least try to?
I just will not use the word maybe pollute here. I will say that they are influencing each other, but influencing for a better price signal. So if we have a lower balancing capacity prices and higher the prices, or vice versa, it doesn't mean that these two markets are polluting each other. It's just that we have now a different price signal on what is more beneficial to have a better allocation of personal capacity. So in this framework, I still believe that we should look at these two markets as complementary, and the right price signals will come by the amount of personal capacity that will be made available in either of these two markets.
Okay, good. Thanks. I see a lively debate on this question. So, but I propose we go to the next one. Good. So then the question I see top scoring now is: in theory and practice, co-optimization sets a competition of energy and balancing capacity products. Have you already considered the impact of such competition to the efficiency of the market on providing adequate pricing for the energy and the balancing products / markets?
So I think this is going to be part maybe of the welfare study that I was mentioned before. So we will see how the impact it's going to translate in terms of welfare gains for one market and the other. But yes, so we haven't done any such assessment so far, but we're looking forward to seeing the outcome of this study to have a better view on the interplay between these two factors in optimization.
Indeed, objective of this study. Indeed. Good. Then the next question is: if welfare of both markets is then to be optimized, what about efficiency of price signals, as one could expect more paradoxically rejected bids in the day-ahead market as a result? Uncertainties might also increase risk premia in bids. Will a welfare analysis be performed before moving further?
Yes, for the paradoxically rejected bids, this could indeed happen. I think this will also be further assessed in the R&D studies. And with regards to the welfare analysis, as I mentioned before, this will be indeed part of our planning, and we aim at publishing such assessment in the coming months. So here we will see more in detail how this interplays.
Okay, and then the next question is, as bids and balancing, most balancing markets can be changed less than 1 hour before delivery. Wouldn't we increase the inefficiency if we force market participants to bid at the same time than they had? Is any work has been done on the drawback of the I think there's maybe a misunderstanding under this question on balancing energy versus balancing capacity, because I think the 1 hour before delivery is balancing energy. But Marco, go ahead.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, somebody already commented this actually in the question. So indeed, as I mentioned before, balancing energy is not part of this optimization process. It will still stay as it is now. It will be more and more integrated when more countries will join the already existing balancing platforms for Marie and Picasso.
Yeah, maybe it's good to mention, because indeed the split between balancing energy. Oh, Marco?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry. I think we lost connection with you for a second, but I hear you now again. So.
Oh, okay.
I was wanting to add, I don't know if you were adding that, but I wanted to add indeed the distinction between balancing energy, balancing capacity. So balancing capacity really being a market on lost revenue opportunity cost in the day ahead market, and always separate from the actual marginal cost of providing balancing energy. So providing balancing energy is always separate, because you never know whether this reserve will provide balancing energy and its corresponding costs. So the corresponding costs are always offered in the balancing energy market, and the exclusion from the day ahead and its revenue loss or opportunity cost of that's part of the balancing capacity market. Good. I see that question moving down. So with moving to 15-minute SDAC algorithm, to 15-minute SDAC algorithm performance are already challenged. Adding balancing capacity market clearing to it won't help. What is considered to mitigate this? Give more time to the algorithm, simplify some of the rules.
Yeah, these are indeed some good ideas also here, and we're actually going towards this direction already. Maybe I'm not sure how much I can say already now, but I think there's going to be an update of the SDAC cloud methodology coming already in the coming weeks, where some of the already existing products that are now challenged towards the move to the FET node, towards the FET minutes MTU will need to be discarded, such that the algorithm can find the optimal solution in a shorter amount of time. Extending the time for the algorithm, of course, is also an option, and I think that is also been considered. There are other amendments also that play a role here. For instance, the so-called second options, for which NEMOs are currently investigating whether to keep them or not. But overall, what we see is that further R&D needs to be done over several fronts, and the computational performance of the algorithm cannot be, however, taken as a blocking element for doing further R&D, actually. So it should be a trigger to continue the improvement when more and more bidding zones, more and more products, and more services like a balancing capacity market will have to be integrated, because this is coming from existing legislations, and those cannot be disregarded when looking at the clearing algorithms. Thank you, Marco. I see a number of interesting questions coming. So here, the first one is, I see it's being surpassed by another, but I'll still take it. So how do you consider the proposal to change the price limit for balancing power to 100,000 euro? Do you not see a significant risk at such price level would deter investors in intermittent green power production? I'm not sure about the 100,000, whether that's part of this proposal, but I don't know if you know. No, I think it is not part of the proposal. I think maybe there is also your misunderstanding. I think it's about the balancing energy price, not the balancing capacity price. And I think this is also something coming probably soon, as far as I know. But yeah,
there's indeed soon a proposal coming on balancing energy price limits. We expect this indeed next week to be submitted, and a separate webinar will be organized on that. I see one rising quickly on whether we're considering risks of poor competition in balancing markets on pricing, and so on the overall solution. I think that's an interesting question of what we're trying to achieve here.
Not directly, but is indeed, of course, one of the elements that need to be monitored. And I think that this is not traditional BC, once again, as a blocking element towards going for an implementation of co-optimization, but to rather try to address this problem at the source and enable more and more competition in the balancing capacity markets. So I think these two developments should go rather hand in hand and should be seen towards this common goal.
And I think basically it's also the co-optimization leads to merging two markets. So competition in day ahead will also serve competition in balanced capacity markets as such. I see the next question. I think I know the answer, but so Marco, if you don't, then let me know. So did I understand correctly that the balancing market will be co-zonal with co-optimization? Will there be core capacity that then has to be fulfilled within the country?
So this balancing capacity market will indeed be cross-zonal. So all EU market will need to be integrated into this co-optimization framework. And as far as I know, at least we're not foreseeing any limit to the share of this balancing capacity, which needs to be served locally compared to cross-border. I think there is foreseen.
So I think the system operation regulation indeed requires certain levels of nationally procured balancing capacity. There is indeed no limit on the exchange, but there is some minimal core parts for the TSOs to procure nationally in the system. But we assume that those core parts will not be problematic to meet. Okay, I think we have 3 minutes. I have 3 questions, so a minute per question. Let's see if we can do them. So first one is risk-wise, has it been assessed what a decoupling case would lead to in terms of situation if balancing capacities are now to be mitigated at the same time as a failing day-ahead process?
It's something that has to be tackled by the NEMOs, actually, not by ACER. And I think this question indeed should be addressed to the NEMOs, whether they've already started to see what is the impact of this.
But I think they mean that the balancing capacity would not be available if there's a decoupling.
True, but then so we'll go back to the national balancing market as we have now. So it's going to be that a cross-border exchange of balancing capacity will not be possible. And then in this fallback situation, we will switch back to what we have now. But this is expected to be a rare occurrence, which hopefully could be avoided if the algorithm is well developed.
And a solution, the fallback solution, indeed would be part of the process, basically.
Exactly.
Good. Then, before last question, considering the gradual move of balancing capacity to the short-term framework, do you have an estimate of the volumes of balancing capacity to be procured in the STAC framework?
So I think this is also linked to the question before between the core volumes versus the volumes. So there is no estimate at this point in time because still we are in the preparatory phases. But it is something that will also have to be looked at in the next steps.
Yeah. And in the end, it's also a bit the same. So there's a marginal part in this market, and there's a core part in this market. And the integration basically makes the market merges in terms of prices by a certain level of exchange, basically. And indeed, in co-optimization, there's no limitation to the exchange. So final question, 1 minute. Already now, differences of the day at market products across Europe have strong impact in the solution process. Do you think this could be an opportunity to rationalize and simplify products?
A short answer, yes. Yes, and we should expect this to come in the stack product methodology amendments that will be submitted in the coming months or years for the introduction of co-optimization. Simplification, maybe, I think it's not maybe the right terminology, but I will use harmonization of products. This is something that could be sought after in this further changes of the stack product.
Very good. Thanks, Marco. I think we managed all the questions today and we're right on time. So thank you all and for your questions. Any follow-up questions that would come, we'll answer them in the Slido. I think you can go to the next slide, Marco. So indeed, some closing remarks from my side. So indeed, thanks for your participation today in the webinar. Of course, we have the public consultation open. It's open until the 15th of February. We really welcome your input to the questions in the public consultation, so we're able to take this into account into our further process. If you have any questions, please contact us on the said email address here. And I think with that, I don't think there's another slide. I think with that, I thank you for your contribution and participation today in this webinar. Slides, indeed, slide and presentation will be put online shortly. And thank you and have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.